ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mayor Mark Boughton from the City of Danbury, and it's my honor and clearly so critically important for us to remember 9/11. I'm here today with Chief Ridenhour from the Danbury Police Department and with Chief Omasta from the Danbury Fire Department. We can't have our traditional outdoor ceremony because of COVID-19, but we also wanted to send a message how important it is that each of us remember, reflect, and honor those that gave their lives on that tragic day. Today is an important time for all of us to take a step back and reflect on the importance of our public safety services and on the importance of the men and women who span the globe right now defending the very cause of liberty. This has been a long battle in terms of fighting terrorism, and we'll continue to do that, each of us in our own way, as we move forward in the future. But today, we take a moment to remember the Danbury area victims of 9/11. Their names are inscribed on this memorial on Main Street. Take a moment when you have a chance this weekend and read them. Today we remember Christopher J. Blackwell, FD New York, who was with Rescue Company 3 and died at the World Trade Center. We remember Eric Brian Evans, an insurance manager with Ion Corporation, who died at the World Trade Center. We remember Robert Higley II, Client Services, Ion Corporation, World Trade Center. We remember Michael Grady Jacobs, Vice President of Fiduciary Trust International, World Trade Center. We remember James Thomas Waters Jr., Senior Vice President of Keefe, Bruyette and Woods, died at the World Trade Center. We remember Candace Lee Williams, a junior at Northeastern University, who died on Flight 11. We remember Judith Florence Hofmiller, a consultant with J.H. Marsh and McClellan, who died at the World Trade Center. We remember H. Joseph Heller, a commodities broker with Car Futures, who died at the World Trade Center. And we remember Tyler V. Ugolin, a research associate with Fred Elger Management, who died at the World Trade Center. These are the Danbury area victims, and these are the people, along with the 3,000 other victims, that we take a moment out to remember and to thank.
Hello everyone. Although we cannot meet in person, I think it's extremely important that we take time out to remember those who lost their lives and those who were affected by the tragic events of September 11th, 2001. I don't think anyone will forget where they were 19 years ago on that day. I remember that I was working when someone came and said to me that a plane had crashed into the World Trade Center. So like everyone else, the first thing you want to do is get to a television. And as I watched, I saw the second plane crash. And that's when we knew that this was no accident. And from that point on, especially here in the state of Connecticut with such close proximity to New York City, so many of our first responders wanted to just get on the highway, whether it was I-84, I-95, and go to help out their brother and sister officers at the World Trade Center. But we also had a responsibility to protect our citizens here. So it's just extremely important that we remember those, we remember the firefighters and the police officers, the National Guard troops, and everyone who participated on that day and who has fought for our freedom and fought to keep our homeland safe ever since. It's a day that is sad, but it's a day that I'm proud to say that I'm a police officer. It's a day that I think all first responders will remember as a day to define what we do from here and forever.
Thank you, Chief Ridenhour, and thank you for all the great work that you and the Danbury Police Department do for us, the citizens of Danbury. Now, we'll hear from Chief Omasta from the Danbury Fire Department.
Thank you, Mayor Boughton. Thank you, Chief Ridenhour. It is hard to believe 19 years ago, when those planes hit the towers, like the Chief mentioned and the Mayor, no one will forget what they were doing that day. Geographically, New York City is so close to Danbury, and like the Chief said, we all wanted to go down and help our fellow firefighters, police officers, EMS workers, and citizens. I was home the day after the attacks. We got a call from another firefighter who was down at ground zero. They said they needed help. So I looked at my wife, she looked at me, she said, "You gotta go." So we hopped the train to Grand Central, got off the train, there was a bus waiting for us, and it was so surreal. The bus ride to Ground Zero, people were lining the streets cheering for us. The devastation that was witnessed was so surreal. I was never in a war, but it looked like a war zone. The crumpled fire apparatus all over the city was crushed, totally destroyed. Unfortunately, there were very few people to save. The damage was done. And as the first name read by Mayor Boughton, Chris Blackwell, worked with us in the Danbury Fire Department. Chris is not only an elite firefighter in New York City, he was a paramedic and worked for the City of Danbury. We worked closely with Chris. It was a devastating loss for him and the other 3,000 people. On a lighter note, Chris's son, Ryan, studied hard, and Ryan is filling Chris's footsteps in the New York City Fire Department.
Thank you very much, Chief. We appreciate the work that our chiefs do for us each and every day, and of course their staffs, and the men and women in the Danbury Fire Department and the Danbury Police Department. These are difficult times for all of us, and we recognize that. But the residents of Danbury can feel comfortable that they've got the very best and the very brightest serving them, as evidenced by these two chiefs. And remember, take a moment out and think about those that are no longer with us and those who gave their all. God bless you. May God bless America.